Okay. I swear to God, the brain farts are amazing. It's amazing, the brain fart, Shannon. So I've been talking away as usual with nobody able to hear. So I'm Linda with Seaporium on the far west end of Main Street, yada, 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 yada. And if you're interested, please come see us if you're in the area. If not, we're online at seaporium.com. And we are authorized retailers for Dixie Bell, which is what we're really going to be working with today, which includes the bells and whistles, the Silk Mineral line, and of course all their chalk paints and ancillaries. But we're also authorized retailer, as Shannon can tell you, with Iron Orchid Designs products. So we have a lot of fun. So if you're new to me, please give us a follow, a like, share if you like what you see. Sorry about the beginning. Thank you for letting me know, Shannon. I mean, I thought I dotted my I's and crossed my T's, and then I realized it was 5:02 and I just went live without checking this microphone. So this time it was totally on me. You know, I hope you are well. I hope you are well if you're still, if you stuck it out with me. I gotta show you this, okay? So we're gonna get rid of this banner. And I'm reaching up because we have a different setup for all this. So there. And is that, so I think what's happening is it this that's creating the problem? Let's see. Is it this? Because my other camera is getting a big time glare. And maybe it's this light. So let me try turning this light off. There's no way to turn it off. I have to unscrew it. Did that help? Did that help? I think it did. Okay. So, maybe not. Maybe not. So let's put this one back on. Sorry. We're having difficulty seeing in one of my cameras here. But instead of, and now it's swinging around like a pendulum. You know, you can't win. You can't win. I have the stencil down here. Let me bring Instagram downward. Let's see. Sorry for this. And okay. And that certainly didn't help you guys out at all. So let me try to bring this down a little bit. I don't know. It's just not letting me lighten it in here. So maybe if I move it over a little bit this way. That's better. Yay. And you're still in view. Okay, we got a happy medium. So let's do this first. Let me bring this over and show you what we're going for, if you can see this. Okay. Can you see? It's going to be really subtle. Okay. Can you see on Facebook what's happening here? Oh, there it is. Okay. So that's what this whole project is about. It's about a play on sheen. And it's, you know, it's a thing, okay? All right, so I had some of my medium out. I used Dixie Bell's Clear Coat Gloss. And I've been trying to keep my stencil brush from getting too dry. Oops, I totally moved this. But I don't think we're going to be able to salvage this. We'll make some more. So I want to show you anyways how I made this. So I am using the Pearl X. It's called Interference Gold. All right, I know it's backwards there. All right, interference gold. All right, this way. The cameras make no sense to me. What you think you got to go left, you're going right. And then you add in the delay, and so you think you made no headway, and then you did, and then you just get all confused. All right, self-video is not for wimps, okay. Obviously, because I can't seem to get this whole volume thing, the microphone working right ever. So I'm not going to do this on my table, but what I'm going to do, because this is going to get everywhere, okay? This is going to make a hot mess. So I am going to stir this. You don't want to shake your top coats. Again, this is the gloss clear coat. And obviously I made too much last time because a little goes a really long way. All right. And then we're just going to use a little scoop. So this pile was 2 scoops of our interference, of our gloss, and 1 pile of our interference gold. So now we're going to use 1 scoop and about maybe half a scoop. A little bit more. Okay. And then you just want to mix it up. So I think it did come out thicker last time. I couldn't really see through it very well last time. And because I'm rubbing a lot of the stencil on, I'm going to go ahead and go bolder. So whenever you're doing, you know, a kind of stenciling that I'm doing, you can go bolder with your color than you normally would. But again, always test. Okay. So now that we have that, I'm going to put this aside, and we have my stencil brush. So what I normally, and of course you know if you've watched me, is I take my stencil brush and I tape it so that the bristles don't come apart too much, okay? And then it's lightly damp. You don't want it wet. And I just barely dip into my paint, or what in this case it's like a wash of the glaze of the clear coat gloss, right? And I've kind of blocked off some things. I don't want these little scrollies to come in, but the rest of these will let them work. That's what I did over here anyways. And this, I'm so sorry you guys, but this is, maybe Instagram will be able to catch a bit of this from the side. But it's going to be something, you know, you're going to want to constantly, you know, visit that. Oh, Instagram can see that. Instagram can definitely see that. It's so pretty, Facebook and YouTube. And typically when I stencil, this is how I do it. I just do this sort of circular motion, try to concentrate on some of the edges, especially with these real fine stencils like this. You're not, I mean, you could try to use a really small stencil and just hit all around the little edges, but in something like this, you're going to drive yourself crazy. More on this kind of a stencil is I'm going for a varied look, kind of a tie-dye look. It's kind of bold, or you know, it's brighter or lighter, right, with the color. You can always add more, but it's of course harder to deal with if you put it on too bold. And I'm not going for a perfect look because the piece that we're doing to match this too, it was very light in this process. This, on the original piece, was all 3D stenciling. But there won't be much of it on the apron. I'm just going to try and tie it in a few spots, maybe in the front and the back. I don't think we'll even have room on the sides. Like, it's going to be a thing, you guys. And you want to constantly, when it's so light, you want to constantly revisit it. Isn't this pretty? I don't know, can you see this on Facebook? No, you can't. So let me do a bit of it, and then I'll move it back so Facebook can see. Sometimes I do end up tapping it. And the size of the bristle brush that you use, the stencil brush, is totally up to you in this kind of case, because we're obviously not, I'm not trying to get a perfect outline on all these. It's just too intricate of a detail to deal with that. And it's not my style for this kind of a piece, of a damask. I like that it kind of is more of a tie-dye look. Broken, you know, because it's, you know, to me, this is kind of like glam, but broken, you know, like the true shabby chic. All right. It's really easy. It just takes a little patience. Now, a lot of people use an adhesive, a repositionable, say that 5 times fast, even 3 times fast. Spray. Don't mind me. I have had some belly aches today. I don't know what it is, but if I'm going to be honest, I have been burping like a sailor, and I've been trying to not go live, but I really wanted to share this with you, and I also needed to keep moving with this project. So if I suddenly like douse the microphone and run away, that's why. You know, it's been crazy. I don't understand. It's like a little sour stomach. Usually that would be an indication of one of my big headaches coming. And you notice, like, I'm really using so little. It's hard to show you when everything is very light anyways. But what I prefer to do is I prefer to start light. Maybe when I first load my brush and I think I might have, you know, I'm not sure how much paint is on there, I'll kind of, like you see me notice, I'm kind of going a little bit here, there, and then I start rubbing it in. Because that way, when I first start, any paint that's on there is getting a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, right? I don't know if this is making any sense to you. It makes sense in my head, though. This is a little more time consuming than just taking a roller and rolling paint over it. If you like a quick satisfaction kind of a stencil, we do have, you can totally do that with these, but we also have what's left of the silkscreen stencils. I have quite a few of them actually. And those are really cool because you could take like a the thingamajig that Dixie Belle sells, or the silicone blade that Iron Orchid Design sells, and you just pull the paint across the stencil because it actually is a screen stencil. Oh, you notice that? I put it on really heavy, and instead of trying to use my brush to smooth it out, I just wiped it off with my finger. This paint is not sealed, that it's going onto. I don't like to stencil or stamp onto sealed surfaces unless there's a reason for it. But then I really have to weigh it out, especially stamping. And I'm going to go ahead and not worry about the edges being very defined because I want it to kind of fade out at these edges, right? Because they're getting worn out. Oops, that was a little aggressive. We'll wipe that. And because these little lips on here have been bent so many times in cleaning for our texture, I have to be careful on the direction I stencil. Because there's these tiny little nips on here that just want to bend forward. Hello, hello, Artistic Heart. How are you? If you're watching on our website, I appreciate you. I can't communicate with you is all. But know that I appreciate you. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, we are a small business, so as everyone says, I guess I don't know what it gets us because I've been doing these videos of a long time, and I am not getting any richer for it. But I keep doing everything everyone says to do, right? Do the videos. Okay. So now, can we see that yet? Can we see it yet? It's hopefully on Facebook. I know Instagram can see it. Yay! You're over here for a minute. Yay! That's what Artistic Heart is saying. She must be scrolling, or she must be scrolling and catching different things, or at work, right? Thank you for watching it all. I appreciate it. We had a Kennedy visit today. And that was, other than someone from the Main Street bid office and someone from the water department and someone to visit our dog, it was pretty much all we had today. So anything you can do to help our small business would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, I have this brick and mortar. It's on Cape Cod. But you know, plenty of people live out here now. Everyone will say, oh, but you know, it's winter on Cape Cod. But I'm telling you, they just said, I think in some article out here, it was a Boston Globe or something, that the Cape Cod is the fastest growing market, at least in Massachusetts. So, and as long as we're not moving the stencil, see what's happening is it's getting on too thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little breather here. I'm getting a little aggressive because I couldn't see it as well. It's a different light over here. So I didn't realize it was going on so heavy. So I want to watch the back of this. And hopefully, I'm going to blot this. We don't want a lot of that. All right, okay, and then we're going to sand a little bit of this anyways because some of it's a little too perfect. So I'm going to distress it a little bit with a really fine sandpaper. And again, we want to offload a little bit. I was getting a little lazy with that because I can't see it as well in this angle. Okay. But that's, you know, when you're doing this really fine wash of color, it's super hard to see. And then of course I got all these different lights on in different directions and the shine, and it's hard to see. But and the worst case scenario is I give it a light sand for any of the raised part of the stencil, and I give another another base coat, and do it again. It's paint, you guys. Far worse things could happen. Okay? All right, almost done. It is a little easier when you're using more of an opaque paint because this is really, the shimmer is what's really the problem. Is it's going on, but I can't see it in this angle. Okay, let's see. All right, I think we're good. Maybe hit a couple edges. To give them a little more emphasis. I'm going to stand up a minute to see if that helps determine. I think we're looking good. All right, so hopefully Facebook and YouTube can see this now. All right. Now, if I were a smart woman, I would have made more of this and just added more gloss for our other wash, but that's not going to happen. I'm going to take my stencil brush and I'm going to put it in water and clean it with my scrubby soap after. All right. And again, we can blot a little bit here, I think. All right, so can Facebook see this now? Isn't this pretty? Hello, hello. How you doing, Diane? Two Girls Treasure says hello, doll. Hi, Gracie. Gracie says hello. And let's see, playing in your indoor sandbox. That's it, Gracie. Gracie says, I'm playing in my indoor sandbox. And someone's saying they're checking out my Instagram reel really quick. All right, let's see if I missed anything else. Shannon was checking out Instagram. Shannon says, much better for my sound, I guess. I see myself and both my parents are getting over COVID. Oh, that's what she's talking about. She's getting much better. Thank goodness, Shannon. Thank goodness. All right, so that's one way of stenciling, okay? And now you're all going to have to bear with me again, all right? Because I gotta move everything around again. Let's move cameras again. Let's go to this one. And move this one up, because we're going to be working. Let's see, I think we're going to want this one up, 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 up and away. And oh, it's so cold in here, you guys. You know, it's bad when you get a celebrity guest in here and they say, "Oh, you know, it is what it is." But, you know, that's been a known. I don't think we're going to get any help with that. We've tried to get help with the heating here. And it's just not happening, especially now that it's going to be selling maybe. And even if it doesn't sell, I think that's going to be on his brain right now. So we're going to let that dry good, and we'll give it a light sand. But I'm going to stamp this tomorrow. That'll be an Iron Orchid Designs Day. All right, let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, let's not knock down my microphone, because then I would have no sound again. You know, like I said, it's always a process, you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this out of the way, because I'm going to hit this with my head now that I'm standing. Okay. All right, so Instagram can see, and Facebook cannot, YouTube cannot. Let's see. Better. Better, better, better. Okay. So for this, I'm actually going to start on the back side. After all that, right? Because we have a little more area to work with on this side. So we have our striping. So these are matches. If you haven't seen, Shannon, Gracie, I know you've seen that we did these pieces for a lady. The two pieces I'm doing now are for the same two ladies I've been doing work for. I'm blessed to have that, but you know, I keep doing the same thing here. So working with the same stencil, okay, we're going to use this. Let me mix a little bit of our sea spray. I forgot to put that in my description, okay? Sea spray. And I had my little, oh, it's right here, okay, my container. So I'm opening a new Savannah Mist, and here's why. I have one open here, but it's the paint that I use to base coat everything, and should there be a lot difference, okay? Actually, I could probably test that right now. Let's see what the numbers are. There probably is a lot number difference. Let's see. I don't know where the lot number is on this one. So I'm assuming it's different. So not that it's going to be a huge deal, but I'd rather keep whatever's left of this for some fix-ups should I need that, okay? Whenever you're mixing paints or pigments, you know, grouting for tile, right? Any of that. Hey, Shannon, that's who you are. Okay. I love all the videos. I know it's hard work, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you get it, but some people coming along, they don't understand. Like, it's me, myself, and I feel so bad when I mess up the audio and stuff. So thank God you caught that for me right away. So have you ever worked with like salt wash? This is Dixie's Belle's version of salt wash. You notice I stirred the paint first. Okay. And then I'm going to stir it too. And I'm going to tell everyone every time I'm doing these videos that it's important when you have your paint stored, turn them around every now and then. I don't care what kind of paint it is. Just flip it upside down every now and then. It'll help keep everything mixed up so you don't have to go through and shake everything. Just kind of turn it upside down every now and then. So that should be plenty for the little tiny bits that I'm doing. I'd rather make a little bit more than go through this process again. If we're going to be honest, oh, new comments. Thank you, Shannon. Now you're back on Facebook. So now I'm wanting to mix. So I've been working with this little thing. It's nothing to do with any video on, okay? It's one of those plastic ginormous ornaments that I've had outside. There was nothing left of the glitter, so I've been doing like a little video in case it does turn out cute. But I put the sea spray on here after I cleaned the plastic and got the glitter that would come off. I cleaned it really good, and I put down the sea spray mixture with antebellum blue, and then I put in some of the Caribbean Moonshine Metallics, but it didn't come out very good. So then I went over with a really light layer of sea spray and just the Moonshine Metallics Caribbean, and it still didn't really come out metallic-y. But I wanted a little bit of that shine to come through. So what I was doing, because you know the sea spray gives us this texture, when you sand it back, see what happens? I went over it with the gold and sanded back to that antebellum blue color or Caribbean color. All right, and see? All right, let's just sand it back. And then the gold stays on the forefront, but the background was kind of drab. So I took a little bit of the stick with me, with just a little bit on my finger, like I'm gilding wax, and I just sort of rubbed it over the top, not everywhere, okay, just some open areas of that blue. And then let that dry. It took, because it's so cold in here, I think, more than an hour. You want it so it's tacky, but areas that are super thick, let it dry longer, Because all you're going to do is, if it's not dry enough, you're just going to pull it off. It's going to be a hot mess on your foil. Then I have this aqua colored foil. I put it away, but it's just an aqua color foil. And I get this little extra shine to it in some spots. So now I have this gold and I have that, but you know, now the gold kind of seems like it's not jazzy enough. So now, I don't know, it's still a work in progress. I'm not spending a lot of time on it because it is what it is. So anyways, I started to say is I don't want to do it that thick of a mixture. So I'm going to go for less than 50-50 on my mixture. You can do it as little or as much as you want. So let's start with a certain amount and see where it goes. This is not rocket science. And it's probably a good idea because it's a really fine powder to wear a mask or keep it away from you like I am now. I find that some of it was kind of going up into the air. So that's actually going to come out a little bit thicker, but I'll use it. That's okay. At least it's still, see, it's kind of like frosting, and that's what I'm looking for. At least it'll hold itself together, but I don't want it to be too hard because I want to be able to sand it and be nice and smooth after. So let's get rid of our tape on here. I'm going to have to order myself another one of these stencils. I use this a lot, don't I, guys? Like, I use this one a lot. And it's not one that I would say, oh, you know, I'll use that a lot. I would think like Mediterranean one, it's like a tile. I think I would thought that one I would have used a lot. Is it Morocco, I think it's called? Or is that I don't know. It's either I think it's Morocco stencil. And it's bells and whistles, okay. And I would have thought I used that a lot. But I think because I can't get the colorful tiles decoupage paper anymore, you know, that kind of throws things for a loop too. I could use Morocco stencil with the Morocco paint inlay, but if you guys haven't heard yet, if you're not following on the Iron Orchid Designs page or getting their emails, they are not going to continually carry all the designs and paint inlays anymore. So paint inlays only, not the molds, not the transfers, not the stamps. Paint inlays only will be treated as like holiday limited edition. And that goes for the ones that are already existing. So if there's any Morocco, any rose chintz, I don't even think I can get any more. It wasn't available last time I tried to order. I can't see it, but I don't think I even have rose chintz left, and I can't get it anymore. Indigo floral, any of it. Even the new, you know, Debbie's Design and Annie Sloan ones. If you like them, grab them. And I know some people are against that. I'm not here to argue. I'm just the messenger. You know, they can do whatever they want. Me as a stockist, I'm kind of appreciative of it because there's only so much this girl can carry, okay? And as it is, I don't know. I don't know how much I can carry it because it's a thing, you guys. It's been extra slow this year. I'm looking, don't mind me, I'm looking for tape. I know I have this big thick one. Oh, it's right underneath it. All right, here. So, and again, you can, if you have a nice flat surface, you should probably use that repositionable spray. Again, try and say that 5 times fast. And we're going to kind of break it up. We're not going to be 100% with this. So I'm going to go and go like this. All right, and this is going to be fun. I'm not going to lie. This is really going to be a lot of fun, you guys. Doing this with one hand. Let's use another piece of tape over here. At least we can hold it up. All right, and Now, I'm going to scoop some of this. Now, this will be a challenge, I'm not going to lie, because we have a big overhang that I'm not typically used to dealing with when we're dealing with this raised stenciling. Not this big of an overhang. But I'm only going to try and hit it up to here, and then we're going to work our way down, and then the same from the other side, probably tomorrow, because, give me 1 second, I got to concentrate. So I'm going to try and squeeze that up in there, but once that's done, I don't want to revisit that, because it's going to pull out, and I have a little nip there. When you keep cleaning these, even though I'm good about cleaning, eventually these little tips sort of break because they lift up, and then you're scrubbing to get your product off or whatever, and we're getting to the point where some of these little tips and nibs, whatever you want to call them, on the stencil, the little points, the fine little details, they're giving in. They're really bent. So if I leave this kind of thick, okay, I could put this an inch thick and then pull my stencil off after, and I would have a stencil an inch thick. Of course, we don't want a stencil an inch thick, so, you know, I'm just letting you know. You could also pull it super flat with the thickness of the stencil, and it would be very thin, right? So how thick you leave this after is all up to you. If you're leaving a little bit of thickness and you drag your little tool of choice, whether it's a credit card or the transfer tool or a popsicle stick, you can create a texture within the little stencil parts too. All right. My doggies are here and you wouldn't even know it. All right, so this is a different way of doing the stencils, right? Maybe have this little point go right up there. And when I pull this off, that's going to be it. I'm not going to try and put the stencil on over it unless it's all dry, and then I can fill in some spaces that way, okay? And now for any little bits that I don't like, while this sea spray texture is still wet, I'm going to wipe it off. Because we can do that. We have the technology. All right, so let me pull off this tape, and then we're going to just lift it up. All right. I'm not upset with that. Might I add a little bit here tomorrow? Sure, I might actually. But it's a good start. All right. And up here where I had to push the texture on, it's a little thick. I'm going to see if I can pull a little bit off. No, don't pull all the way off. Oh, it did. So we're going to have to fix that. Maybe I could take a little something here and put it back up. Where's my handy dandy tool that I love? Don't be afraid to play with this either. Now, it doesn't have to be sea spray. It's just that with sea spray, I get a texture. There. I'm just going to leave that, okay? I get a texture in the color that I wanted. Now, if you're just going to be base coating everything after, then you could use Dixie mud, right? And then what you would do, there. I'm going to paste a little bit up there too. See, this is not going to be rocket science. But for this little part up here, I might not remember tomorrow. Of course, now that I'm working on it like this, I will certainly remember this, right? But this little bit way up here, I'm just going to fill it in with my little tool. My little, there, it's like a comma. So I have this little fat end. Okay. So we're going to let that dry. We're not going to touch that. And then remember I was telling you about that interference gold? When this is all dry, all of them are done, I can, after I sand it and clean it, I can do a wash with a little brush right around all these little details and, you know, wipe off all the tops, and my little bit of interference gold. Well, actually, I'm just going to kind of wash it all around the details. I want the interference gold to actually stay on a lot of this texture because I want it to play off the gold that's on our legs. So, you know, it's a thing. It's a process. So let's get rid of this. I don't like that. I might like it tomorrow, but I can always add that back tomorrow. But you know, whenever you're doing your work, you do what you like, okay? I'm just giving you the little stepping stones to doing this. So the reason I chose to have this a color and not use the Dixie mud is, again, I'm playing on texture. So if I had done everything in a base of the flat, right, and painted over all my, let's say I did white Dixie Belle mud through the stencil and base coated everything in flat, it would, first of all, be hard to go over this with my stripes in my slightly tinted gloss wash. Okay, that was, instead of the interference gold, it was macro pearl in with the gloss. And we did the stripes, right, with the tape. Just taped it off and painted in the stripes with a little hint of drop cloth. So you're almost out of Dixie mud, Shannon? Well, we got the cure. It's on sale for about another, week and a half maybe. I can do it. We can only do it like 2 weeks at a time for either company. So we're on a ticking time bomb. But you missed some really good sales, girl. I hope you took advantage of it with someone. Hopefully you're a local retailer. So I'm going to do this on the other side and let those two parts dry. But because the apron is so skinny, I might maybe just put like a little flourish in the center and leave it. But we have that stencil tying onto the top, don't we? It's not raised, but it's going to be basically the same color. So that's it. As far as these legs, maybe we'll try and hit this tomorrow after I do my stamping. But once these are done, I'm going to have to leave them I have to put this stick with me glue on. So if you saw my little reel, I did a base coat of a mix of Colonel Mustard and chocolate to get more of a rich gold tone for a base coat. And instead of wasting a lot of paint, because to tell you the truth, I don't have a lot of my treasure gold left. And we do have the Dixie Belle golds, but because I still have my golds, I've just been working on it. Plus, this is a really rich gold, and I like this really rich gold, and it's the one that we use for her other projects. We got to keep with it. You know, so instead of wasting it, I just need a good base for my Dixie foil, the Dixie Shine. So if you haven't done Shine before, we're going to be using Stick With Me. It's an adhesive that stays tacky. And we're going to brush it on, try to do it fairly evenly. You don't want it too thin, but you certainly don't want to glop it on. And once it's all dry, give it probably a couple hours. They say 5 minutes. I don't know about that. The one I'm used to, it's a couple hours, and I can't remember. I think this one was quicker, but you know, just test it. If it's really like when you go to touch it and your skin is like really stuck in it, then let it dry more. If it's just, you know, tacky, then it's good to go. And then you're going to just take your Shine, it comes on rolls, and you guys, I haven't used any more. This is still the same roll we've been using for all my little projects, okay? And you put the pretty part facing you, and you get like a scrub brush and scrub it right into the adhesive, the Stick With Me, and pull off the backing, and that pretty gold will stay on. But should you miss a spot or two, and I find with this process, is I haven't found where you don't have to, I find you have to add like more than one coat of the Dixie Shine. So after it's all said and done and it's on, I kind of go over it again and do another coat of the Dixie Shine. And then still, if anything does want to show, we have our base coat of gold, and it's very similar to this. So hopefully we won't need to do a second coat. Maybe it's just me. Maybe, again, I didn't let everything dry evenly, didn't apply it evenly. But foils, I find, I don't know if you guys, Shannon, have you worked with foils? Like they always say, like Artsyville, like she's always like, oh, we just put this on, we let it dry, and we just use a scrub brush, and it goes on even, blah, 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 blah. I haven't found that to be true yet. Mine, see, you can reapply this over and over again, okay? If you get a spot and it didn't go all the way down, just put the foil back on, pull it off, you know, and it'll just build on itself, and you don't see where you added it. But when you add a second coat, I think you would have a buildup of, so that's why I say I just do a whole second coat, because that way everything's even. And with that, natives are restless. I am gonna keep putzing with my stenciling. The top is done, yay. I'm just gonna do, you know, like I said, to the other side and maybe a little spots on the ends. And I'm calling it a night, you guys. So thank you for joining with me. And if you're watching on replay, I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties. You guys, like, I can't help myself. But you know, it is what it is. I appreciate you watching. Again, if you like what you see, please let your friends know, share, comment, like. It helps us. Like on YouTube, I'll be able to do these lives on an avenue that's not private. I can actually show up on feeds. And more people that find out about us, they can, perhaps maybe they'll find something that they like and help me stay in business here. All right, so you guys have a great night. I should be able to go on tomorrow. We'll see if we have power, you know. And again, shop Seaporium.com. Until I see you again, stay sassy. Bye, Instagram.